This is Hank Kobler with ExtraPointFootball.com. This week's Try This video is going to look at the Kansas City Chiefs. One of the big surprises of the season was them winning the AFC West instead of the heavily favored San Diego Chargers. Now, the Chiefs have a lot of strengths. Quarterback Matt Cassel is playing a lot better than he was last year. That was one of the biggest surprises of the season for them, is his high level of play and his chemistry with receiver Dwayne Bowe. And so the Chiefs' biggest strength, though, is one they haven't exploited, and that's their three running backs. You've got Thomas Jones, an up-the-middle workhorse type of back. Jamal Charles, a shifty guy, very much in the mold of Tennessee's Chris Johnson. Then you've got Dexter McCluster, a receiver running back hybrid player who often goes out in the slot, kind of a Wes Welker type role, but he also carries the ball at once. And so because they're going into the playoffs against teams that can physically outmatch them on the line sometimes, they need to have some sort of schematic advantage that allows them to counteract this. Because of this, I've drawn up a play that allows them to have the threat of both their main running backs taking the ball or the ball going to Dexter McCluster in open space, while still giving Matt Cassel, their quarterback, a chance to get the ball in his hands and send it to Dwayne Bowe. So the way this works is I've drawn it up against a 3-4 defense, because many of the AFC defenses in the playoffs are a 3-4. And you've got the center taking on the nose tackle, the left guard taking on the middle linebacker or the defensive end if he crashes inside, and the left tackle taking on the end or the linebacker if the end crashes inside. You know, that's part of the line's assignments, is to pick up those blitzes and crashes and stunts like that. And so that's where they'd have to make that read there. Now the right guard will pull outside, seal the perimeter, while the right tackle blocks the end and the tight end blocks the outside linebacker. Now there are a couple different options on this play. This is from the pistol formation again. If you're familiar with this video series, you've seen me use it before, where the quarterback's 2.5 yards back instead of the customary 5 yards from the shotgun. It gives the running back a little time to get a running head start before he hits the line, but it doesn't have him 5 yards back, so he has to gain 5 yards just to break even and not lose yardage. The Chiefs actually brought this back into popularity in the NFL somewhat in 2008 under offensive coordinator Chan Gailey, and they need to look at using it again with Charlie Weiss, their new coordinator. You got Jones on the right side of Cassel and Jamal Charles on the left. Now, the way the play can the first option on the play, the way it can go, is Jones can go between left tackle and left guard and just take on the right linebacker if he tries to hit the gap. Now, if he just fakes the handoff to Jones, he can pitch it to Charles, who can run on the outside. Run to the outside, and McCluster can either block or run a reverse. Now, with Cassel, because he's a very mobile quarterback, that's one of the least appreciated aspects of his game, is his mobility. He can run a sort of option pitch where he takes a couple steps and then pitches it to Charles without having much of a risk of injury, because he's not having to run far. Now, when he does this, he can pitch it to Charles, keep it and make a passing play out of it, or pitch it to McCluster on the reverse. Now, with such a run-heavy formation like the Wildcat last year, defenses can start to run blitz it like crazy without a threat of the pass. That's where Dwayne Bowe comes in, and he's so important. The safety's going to stay high just because Bowe is such a threat as a deep receiver. So if Bowe runs a post route but runs under the safety, one of these two linebackers has to drop into coverage, or he will get wide open underneath the safety and past the cornerback every time. So that takes one of the linebackers out of the equation already in the running play. Then you've got McCluster. You can't blitz this corner or both of these linebackers, because McCluster can just as easily, instead of a reverse and instead of any of the play fake handoffs, he can just immediately run a slant, and Cassel can hit him for that and get the ball to him in space there if he sees the defense cheating on the run. So because of this variety and the threat of Cassel to run and pass, as well as this three-headed rushing attack, including one runner who can also be a deadly receiver when given the ball in short passes and turn those into big gains, along with Dwayne Bowe on the other side, you have a variety of options. And then you can also have tight end Tony Moeaki run a short out, keep this, if this cornerback tries to go too far upfield and gives too soft of a cushion underneath in the flat. So with all these options and varieties, you see the Kansas City Chiefs can make their running backs and McCluster the focal point of their offense a little bit more, and make their number one priority either getting the ball to McCluster in space or creating opportunities by threatening to get the ball to him, whether it's on reverses from Charles, from Cassel, or on short passes when the defense doesn't expect it. So with all these options, the Kansas City Chiefs can go far in the playoffs against teams that are better than them and stand a chance of winning if they let their running game become the focus of their offense even more than it has been. That's it for this week. See you next week with Try This on ExtraPointFootball.com. This is Hank Kobler.